It is Wednesday, my dudes, and that means raid day. I thought I'd do a quick video. It's just the easiest format to get everything across on, to be able to talk over video and some logs I wanted to show you guys. Very quickly before the raid, I'm just going to go over a couple pieces. So the first thing is, I can't really avoid it, talk a little bit just high level about what these logs are if you've never looked at the logs, or you do look at the logs but you don't know how to make sense of them. I thought I'd very quickly show you just what I know, and I'm by no means an expert. Here's our guild. Our logs are private, as you can tell by the little lock button, which means you need to create an account on Warcraft logs and then get Trag to approve you. Just ask us on Discord. So I'm on the calendar view, so I can see all of our raids, the Trag posts. If I click on the most recent raid, which is Sunday's raid, I then get given all of the different encounters, as well as I can look at trash if I wanted to as well, trash fights. You can see all of our patchwork attempts, number 4 being the one that lasted the longest, where we got him down to 10% or whatever. So I'm going to click on that fight to look at some of the numbers here, because that's the one that's the most meaningful. Longer fight, more data. The first thing I do when I look at a log is I will usually, especially on Patchwerk, I'll basically ignore the events after a certain number of deaths, in this case 1. So as soon as the first tank dies, I'll ignore the data, and you can see how the graph changes to ignore everything that happened afterwards. So if you're looking at your DPS or you're looking at your healing, you're trying to compare your numbers to others, it makes sense to do that, because Kebab is number 1 here, and I'm number 4, I think, or something like that, which is misleading because obviously I stayed alive a lot longer than most of the melee, so it's inflating my position on the DPS, whereas if I end the fight after the wipe is called, you can see that actually my DPS is a lot lower than, well, the DPS is higher, but my position on the rank is lower, which makes more sense. So first thing I'm going to do is talk about healing a little bit. That seems to be one of the problems we're facing on Patchwerk, so I'm going to go to the little sub-menus here, and I'm click on the healing done, which is quite useful. So here, if you're a healer, you can come in and you can, don't worry too much about the amount healed, or the PARS numbers. We don't really care too much about that. But what we want to be looking at is looking at who's casting what, when, and the numbers, the values, overhealing done and the amount healed. And this will be different for everyone, but I'm going to take an example of maybe Carrion. So Carrion casted only 1 spell the entire fight, and that's Greater Heal rank 2. Now it's interesting because this is a rank 2 spell, and it costs 455 mana, right? Now, the tooltip won't show the actual amount healed because, of course, depending on your gear, your plus spell power, the spell coefficient is very different for different spells, but essentially what we want to do is look at the average cast column over here to get the actual amount of healing that spell does. So 1.7k healing for 455 mana. That's pretty good. I'm going to look at some other logs now of some other guilds. Here's another priest who was top healing on Patchwerk. I see a lot of priests using heal, which is quite interesting to me. There's heal rank 4 is what this guy casts the most. It costs 305 mana, which is less than 3/4. Sorry, it's about a quarter less, 30% less mana than the Greater Heal, and it heals for 1.4, same cast time. So if we're tight on mana, it might make sense to switch to Heal rank 4 instead of Greater Heal rank 2. This guy did still use Greater Heal, but only rank 1, and you can see the average hit was 2.2, so he obviously got crits, right? So yeah, 37% crit. And then also he used Greater Heal rank 5, which is an average heal of 3.2, which makes sense, but it just costs way too much mana. So looking at some of this, looking at what you guys are casting, so Karen's using Greater Heal, Trag, I assume also using Greater Heal, Vayne using Greater Heal. Click on Trag, we see Greater Heal rank 3, so his average was 2.1k for 500 mana. It's 100 mana more than rank 1, and about 300 healing more. So he can obviously sustain that somehow. He must have been popping different cool mana potions and stuff like that. So having a look at that, you guys can figure out for yourselves what spells maybe you should be casting if you're going too quickly. I think I was looking at Intra, who's using max rank healing wave, right, which hits for a lot, but it costs way too much mana, right? That's probably why he went quick, and that's why his healing is so low. Whereas Tides, I think, was also using Healing Wave, but he's using rank 6. Oh, rank 10 is the max, my bad. Rank 6, and he obviously got a lot more casts off, a lot more chance to crit, um, and he managed to sustain that healing output all throughout the fight. And in the end, overall, that ends up doing more healing, right? We're looking at 30k more healing on our tanks, which is massive. So things to adjust. The shamans who do chain heal, I like what I'm seeing. Chain heal rank 1, very good. Spamming that chain heal rank 1 on everything. Yeah, that's definitely good. This time I'm looking at buffs, and there's plenty we could look at here. Lots of different abilities, lots of places to improve. As an example, I'm going to use Slice and Dice. I've already posted this on Discord, but here I can see all the rogues using Slice and Dice, and obviously they all start the fight at different times, more or less. Some being more conservative with threat, some being more balls out. But we can see gaps, right? So if I'm Jonkin Dog or Kragu, I'm looking at these gaps and I'm thinking, Christ, that's DPS loss. Anytime Slice and Dice isn't up, and there should be no reason on Patchwerk because it's just a tank and spank. There's no moving to be done. There's no changing targets. I'll be looking at making sure I improve my uptime on Slice and Dice to be 100%. That's giving me 100% damage. That's improving my DPS. That's helping the guild. That's helping the raid. So possibly some things to look at there. If I wasn't sure, if I was Kragu, I might go look at the casts, look at the timelines. I haven't actually figured out how to filter down this view to just certain players, so let me know if you know how to do that. So I'm looking at the casts of the rogues, and I can see, I'd work it out. I'd work backwards and go, okay, 1 combo point, 2 combo point, 3 combo point. Okay, maybe I should have used Slice and Dice here instead of Eviscerate, and then looks like that's kind of what happened here, because then he got 1 combo point and then used Slice and Dice, which is obviously not good, and he had to reapply it. All right, so it's not a perfect rotation. Don't expect to be perfect every time, but there's certainly an improvement that could be made there. It's just one example. Another really, really useful way to use the logs is to look at casts. Sort of 2 views for this. There's a sort of table view, right? Click on casts. You can see that Jez is spamming a lot more abilities than everyone else. Makes sense, being a tank. There's the timeline view, right? Which is pretty sweet. This is very, very handy to figure out who's fucking around in the middle of a fight. I used to use it when I was perfecting my rotation. I'd look at other hunters and see when they started casting, what rotation they used, in what order. If I was clipping my aim shots, if there's a gap in time between the end of my aim shot and the start of my auto shot, then that's time that's wasted, right? So I need to, at the beginning of Classic, we used to make macros for it, or whatever. So I can go through that and see who's clipping their auto shots. I could look at shadow bolts if I was a warlock and go, okay, where can I use my trinket? Who's not using their trinket at the right time? Who's too slow on threat? Who's casting what? Is someone using Death Wish in the middle of the fight that they shouldn't be? Is someone casting Mana Tide at the wrong time? All sorts of stuff you can look at the timeline here, which is really useful. But the example, what I wanted to talk about was Patchwerk's a long fight, so mana is going to be an issue, and we can do ourselves a favor by using our abilities and consumables at the right time for maximum effect. So I'm going to look at, as one example, mana tides and mana potions. So the spell for mana potions is called Restore Mana. There's different replenish mana is the mana gems for mages, and then restore mana, different spell IDs for different potion sizes. This is obviously the one for major mana potion, I think. Yes, so I'm going to click on that one. So I'm filtering down everyone who used a major mana potion in the fight, okay? And then you click on their names to see when it was cast on the timeline there. So what do I want to show you here? If we look at, I believe, Carrion. Carrion pops a major mana potion basically 30 seconds into the fight. That's probably the earliest you could possibly use it, given that you want to actually have maximum benefit from using the mana potion, right? So you have to expend a certain amount of mana before you take the potion. So he uses it, and it's a 2-minute cooldown, right? So at 30 seconds, and then he uses it again right off cooldown at 2 minutes 30, and then he probably uses it again, but I have ignored it from my, yeah. So basically using it off cooldown every time. So that's great. So he gets 3 on in a fight, right? I'll leave it off for now. If we pick someone else, Gorget, nailing it with the mana potions, right? Maximum benefit at each point, right? So we love that. Tides a little bit off. See, he only could fit in 2 in the fight, right? Because we intend to kill the boss by 5 minutes. But if he had used his potion sooner, like Carrion, he'd get bigger benefit from it, right? Be able to get more in. So Tides, something to improve there. Vayne, also something to improve. Intra, better, but still not perfect. Ashix, awful, but maybe you didn't need it. Smaug, same thing. So do your own investigation here and figure out, when the best time to to use that spell is. It's the same thing for mage gems, right? Replenish mana, I believe is the name of it. I'll click on that, and we see who actually uses gems for the first of all, which should be everyone. But then all of you seem to have done it at the beginning, except this guy, Yondrift. So perhaps Yondrift used his smaller gem first, which would be this one. No, he used that one last. Flash mana. Is it this one? Yes. Oh, Yondrift with the big brains, right? Don't use your biggest gem first in a fight that you know is going to take 6 minutes plus. Use your smallest gem first, so you can use it quicker, you can use it sooner, right? And then get that bloody thing on cooldown so that you can then use your other gems sooner rather than later. So maybe something to improve there for the mages as well. I switch now to our Loatheb, our best Loatheb try, which was our first try, and I've clicked on debuffs. What I'm going to be looking for is who's keeping Sunder armor off. Keeping Sunder armor on. So I'm going to go to debuffs. I'm going to change this from gained by friendly. As you can see, this is only showing me the debuffs that the boss casts. So I'm going to change this to cast by friendly. I can see everyone's debuffs. Who's using Curse of what? Who's using Flame Shock? Some motherfucker used Flame Shock, right? That's not on. Smaug. So you can really look at this and see, like, where can I improve? What I'm going to be specifically looking at is only debuffs on Loatheb and looking for Sunder Armor. And I can see it's only being cast by Gaunt and Asgard, and there's a big drop. So this could be where Asgard was getting the Spore or something, and there was no one to keep Sunder Armor up. I don't know what the off tanks are doing, but I would have definitely expected to see more people casting Sunder Armor in this fight than just Gaunt and Asgard. I'm actually interested to look at Hunter's Mark, and nice, Ashix keeps it up the entire fight, so that's pretty good. What about on Patchwerk? Switch back to Patchwerk. Okay, it dropped just at the end there, in the middle of the fight. So not ideal. We can definitely improve on my Hunter's Mark. Sticking to analyzing our Loatheb attempt. I'll just remove that. I'm looking at the healing on Loatheb, obviously a very crucial part of the fight, and there's huge disparities in the healing, which we could probably address. So we all know that on Loatheb you can only heal once a minute, so you've got to make sure that heal counts. So if I look at Ushka's casts, I can see he's using rank 5 greater heal. Rank 5 greater heal, very nice. I'll go back to the list of healing. Rank 5 I think is the top rank, so that makes sense. Okay, on Carrion, I can see he's using rank 4, right? There's no reason to downrank any healing on Loatheb. You should be using your highest rank heal all fight long. There could be others. I haven't checked everybody. That was just the first one I found. Smaug using rank 10. Cool. That is top. I know Intra was using rank 7, right? So he's going to fix that this time around. Tides, rank 10, very good. Gorget, rank 10, very good. Garage, rank 10, very good. Right, so all good stuff. The other thing to look at on Loatheb specifically is when to use shadow protection potions, right? So I've gone and selected Shadow Protection Potion from the list, and it's showing me now everyone who used that during the fight. Gillian Drizzle only used one, so maybe they died, I'm not sure. We could probably eliminate that by adding our filter in. So these guys probably could have done better using Shadow Protection Potions, but crucially, we're looking at this really nice uptime visual, because it's showing us who doesn't take their consumes on time, right? So there's a big gap in Asgard's consumable uptime and some others, indicating that they're missing the timing. It's quite far into the fight, so it might not matter, but if you don't get your potion on cooldown, so that by the time the 2 minutes is up and it's back off cooldown, if you wait too long, you'll take too much damage from the 2 minute tick, and you won't be able to use your shadow protection potion when it comes off, and you'll die basically. So you can't miss the timing. So most people are getting it bang on, which is pretty great, but not everyone. Okay, now we're looking at a recording from one of the later tries on Loatheb. I'm going to be pausing the video.
Yeah.
There we go. I will make sure I mute. So we're on the encounters on. So the first healer is fuck, can't remember now. Is it Carrion? Yeah, Carrion's the first healer. So we're looking at the healing done meter over here, and I'm looking at what the healers are casting, as well as Gaunt's health, right, which is over here on the right or on the left. So who did a heal? I don't know. Okay, so there's Carrion's heal, right? Carrion's heal goes off. Gaunt is still on half health, so I'm expecting the next person, which I think is Garage and Gorget, to heal now. So we're waiting. We've got Garage pumping up his heal. Gaunt is really low, right? That's going to take more than one Shaman heal to heal. So if I'm Gorget, I'm thinking I got to start healing now. But he's busy dropping totems. So Garage is healing, Garage is healing, Garage is healing, Garage is healing, Garage. Heal goes off. Gaunt gets up. It's Gorget's turn to heal now, but he's not even casting a heal. He's still dropping fucking totems, which he shouldn't be doing as the third healer, right? Oh, he's doing another fucking totem, Searing Totem now. That's very important, but Gaunt needs health. No one's casting a heal right now, and the other healers who are down the list aren't even casting Smite or Lightning Bolt, but that's another problem we can deal with once we get good at the healing. So no one's casting a heal, so Gorget panics. He realizes he fucked up, and he Nature Swiftness heals. We can see that 2.8k heal. So Gaunt gets to half health. So now it's Intra's turn to heal, I think, and then Cream, or perhaps it's Illyria, right? So Illyria is charging up a heal, and it goes off. Yep, 3k heal from Illyria. Gaunt is on full health. Nice. Intra's lightning bolting, which is good. He dropped all his totems, I assume. All right, now he's healing, and Cream's also pre-casting, I think. So Intra's heal lands. It only heals for 1.9. He was using a lower rank of healing wave, but it's still, Shamans don't heal very much on single target. Cream interrupted his heal, I don't know why, and he's taking forever to cast it again. So now he starts to heal, now he starts to heal, now he starts to heal. Mead is panicking, because he knows he's going to need to heal because Gaunt is super low. Cream doesn't get his heal off, and Gaunt dies. So it's very easy to analyze the fight like this. We can see the same thing in the logs, but it's just nicer to look at the recording. Yeah, we can see the same thing in the logs basically if I show you. We look at casts, we look at timelines. We can even do targets, I think, on Gaunt, and you can just sort of see who's healing and then when he dies, which is right here, because it failed healing Gaunt. So you can do your own analysis, right? It's never a secret why we wipe or who makes mistakes. It can always be later analyzed by looking at the recordings or looking at the logs. So it's not up to me to call it out. It's up to me to understand what's happening in case there's something wrong with the tactic that we're doing, something wrong with the positioning, or I don't know, some other problem that I could address. But really, it's up to you guys to figure this out on your own, and hopefully these little videos on how to use the logs help you do that.